What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? It's 420 in California. This is Reefer Revolution Live.
But I think in terms of marijuana, and legalization, I think that should be a state issue, state by state.
I think in terms of marijuana, too.
I think it's up to the states, yeah. I'm a states person. I think it should be up to the states, absolutely.
States person.
You know, I know people that are very, very sick, and for whatever reason, the marijuana really helps them.
I know people too.
Don't smoke marijuana.
Well, I know the good people had a week of historic cannabis legalization hearings up on the Hill with a focus on pot for profit. The banks won in, and they're going to get their hearing next week. Legalization, turns out, protects national forests. Who knew? And hemp is on America's mind, along with CBD, as well as the authorities. And health and wellness is the State of Cannabis 2019 on August 10th in Southern California. And you'll be able to purchase and consume. Who's in? Oh, God, we're going. We're going to be there, and we're going to talk to the organizers.
I'm all in. This is the time to go all in on cannabis.
Oh, everybody's all in over at WeTV.
Are you someone over the age of 21? Are you tired of unorganized, high-priced cannabis events that are full of smoke and wild youngsters? Did you know that cannabis offers a variety of products that align with your lifestyle and then you can consume safely without all the stigmas? That's why you need to attend events like State of Cannabis that educate and promote legal cannabis brands. Click the link to learn more.
That's why Reefer Revolutionaries. The link is in the description.
Are you not?
And we will be joined in the 5 o'clock hour by the organizers, Adriana Gomez in that video, plus Luis Rivera, the organizers of State of Cannabis. Welcome, welcome, Reefer Revolutionaries. It is indeed 420, and I'm Dave Conan. This is Reefer Revolution Live, the show where we spark up, talk about cannabis news, marijuana in the mainstream media, and cannabis cures and health and wellness. And that's the topic of our show today, at least in the second half. And of course, when I say we, I mean my partner in all things life and cannabis, Coach Chela.
Hi.
We have got some, and we have so many exciting things in life that we are working on. That is just, we are so
amazed every day.
We are floating way up here on the clouds.
Amazed every day.
As to what's presenting itself, and wow, and you guys are all going to be along for the ride. So thanks everybody. We got folks, and of course we mean everybody jumping into the chat over there on YouTube. Holy Cannabis Oil in the house there. Dylan Christ, I think it's Christ. Debbie D, welcome back. Exhausted 11. Ernest of Gaia. MD and Niles. Small Tubes was first in the house all the time. You're jumping in first, brother.
Vegan Metro's in there.
Nice.
And Holy Cannabis Oil, of course.
Jerry McGinty, Veg Scrum Bloom.
Yeah. Ernest. Oh, yeah. We haven't seen Ernest in a while.
Haven't seen you in a bit, bud. Welcome, everybody. Who else am I missing? Ellen Blasi. Thank you so much, Ellen Blasi.
MD and Niles, you said, right? Hi, everybody.
I did indeed. I see OG 420 Revolutionaries in there supporting on
Ugly
Patreon.
Adams, 420
joining
Fred.
us. And those, of course, share. Now is the time, guys. Share the broadcast on whatever platform you are. We are, of course, rebroadcasting, multi-streaming, if you will, on all the platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, Twitch, DLive, and WeTV, the Cannabis Media Network. So wherever you're at, wherever you're joining us, please drop a line in the chat. I can pick up DLive chats now on the bottom. That's kind of cool. They just, Restream just updated their chat bot, so that's kind of neat. I can see DLive now. So welcome all you DLive dabbers, you Periscope potheads and Twitch tokers. And
just the Canna Curious, too.
And just the Canna Curious,
you are
wherever you
welcome
are.
Here.
Hit that thumbs up. We like that. We like the thumbs up. Share the broadcast.
Fun.
That's the big thing. If you want to support us on Patreon or Steambot, you can. But whatever platform you're on, share the channel, share the information. We have fun. First of all, we have a great time on Sundays. And basically, we like to relax with you guys, hang out, spark up. What are we smoking? We have some sherbet. We're smoking some sherbet.
Cool.
Sherbet and
Harlequin Tsunami.
Harlequin and Slurricane.
Okay, cool.
Slurricane in our joints. In our reefers,
and melange. A melange
of
flower that we're so lucky to have access to in California.
Indeed. And doing our level best to get more people access to the medicine, especially in the senior community. And that's what's really exciting going on. Lots of things going on behind the scenes of Reefer Revolution Live. More to come. And we are eager for more as things develop. Our documentary is coming along great. New and exciting projects presenting themselves every day. So stay tuned. Join us on Sundays, every Sunday at 4:20, where we talk about the news. We talk about the cannabis news of the week that we find interesting. What's going on? Why is my meeting ending? It shouldn't end.
What? Don't end the meeting?
No.
I don't see the meeting ending. Oh, is it more than 5 minutes? 5 minutes remaining? Is it because it was on 2 hours?
Has it been open for 2 hours?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, I might have to. I thought it was. Sorry, guys. Technical stuff. We have our
Do you
guests.
want to play something?
Coming in. No. That won't fix anything. Really.
Okay, sorry.
But we have guests coming in, and it looks like I might have to start a new Zoom meeting to do it. But that's okay. We can do that.
Oh.
It's just a new link. We know it works. We already tested.
420 Fred, we are trying to grow our own. I feel like we need to be landowners in order to grow our own. It's unfortunate. Well,
we're going to do our level best of that, too.
Yeah, we're trying to do that.
Luis, if you hear me, I'm going to... Come in, Luis. You don't have to come on the air, but if you hear me, we might have to start a new link. But perhaps when you guys are ready, just jump in here and we will get the interview going. So no pressure. But if there's a new link.
2 minutes left to this link.
Exactly. That's weird.
3 minutes.
I don't know why that's happening.
Because I guess the meeting limit is 2 hours.
Yeah, but I'm pro. I guess I'm on the wrong account. Maybe I'm on the wrong account. Okay. Well, never mind. We'll start a new one. We'll start a new one. We have that ability. Yeah. Meanwhile, let's until they jump in, let's get into some news, guys. Let's talk about a little cannabis news. Of course, we are talking about what we find and put over in the Cannabis Chronicle, which went out a little late this morning, but it did go out. And we're going to get into some of these stories this morning. And if you want to sort of follow the news stories as they happen and as they find them, you can follow me over on Twitter, where I do most of my tweeting, at DC420LA. That is my Twitter handle, and that's where when I find a story, it goes out there first and then ends up in the Chronicle to discuss on the show on Sundays. You can also follow us on all of the socials, not only at DC420LA, but at Reefer Rev Show, where Chela is doing her Instagramming over there for the show. That was our exciting interview day with Teepa Snow about, that interview was so exciting. I can't wait to show that interview to you guys. That is like, I am chomping at the bit to play the interview we did with Teepa Snow. So, that's over at Reefer Rev Show. And really, we're on all the socials. Wherever you're at, whatever social, you can find us at DC420LA and at Reefer Rev Show. And also, you can follow Chela's antics at Al's Notes. Cannabis helps dementia. Hashtag Cannabis helps dementia. So, and lots of stuff happening in those areas as well. So welcome everybody. Let's start talking about some news. Turns out, just briefly before we get into the politics of pot, let's talk about health. We're talking about the Health and Wellness Fair later in the 5 o'clock hour about State of Cannabis Health and Wellness Fair out in Adelanto, California, coming up on August 10th, and we're going to get a full update on what that's all about. But listen, it turns out, that's what people are wanting. It turns out that's what people are wanting. This just coming out today from the folks over at New Frontier, collecting cannabis statistics right and left. According to Cannabis of the Week, nearly 90% of medical cannabis patients report chronic or severe pain as the primary illness being treated. Chronic pain. Guess what that's part of? The opioid epidemic is all about chronic pain. So we definitely have some possible harm reduction with cannabis. It looks like those medical cannabis patients in those legal states are looking for it for pain. So let's see. Across states having legalized medical cannabis, pain is the most widely cited condition for its use. Among the 5 key state programs, nearly 90% of registered medical cannabis patients report chronic or severe pain as the primary illness being treated. Post-traumatic stress disorder and muscle spasticity, respectively, are the top 3 most commonly cited conditions reported by patients seeking medical cannabis use. So pain and that stemming from PTSD and other things are on top of the list, folks. So it should be on all your state lists of tyranny. If it's not, and ironically, it is a very it's a controversial thing to put on one of those lists, which is really silly. But chronic pain being added to more and more as the expansions happen. So if it's not on your state list of tyranny, get a hold of your tyrants and have them at it. So there you go. Zoom meeting has ended. Okay. We'll start a new one when it's time.
Okay.
We'll play a couple of their videos while I set up the new meeting.
Okay.
Let's get into the next story. What's that?
No problem.
No problem. Hey, we adapt. We adapt.
We shall adapt.
We shall adapt. So more historic news up on the Hill. Of course, last week they held some pretty historical, they've been holding historic meetings. Historical meetings every week up there on the Hill. And with a particular bent, really. I noticed a lot of, even with the FDA and this particular hearing.
Anti-science bent?
Yeah, the anti-science bent. The anti-science pro-profit.
Surprise.
It's all about the money. It's all about the tax dollars.
What?
And
capitalism? What?
What? Corporate cannabis? What are you talking about? And so surprisingly, or not surprisingly, after these, this actually is a pretty good article in The Hill by Kevin Sabat. Pretty good. Ironically, it's the new propaganda they've lost on the medical benefits on cannabis and the dangers of cannabis. They've lost completely. So now the big villain is our big villain, is corporate cannabis. So now they're trying to make an end run and say, oh, look, it's benefits. It's not medical. They're not trying to be medical anymore. They're not trying to look at that. They're trying to look at profits, cannabis profits. So don't be fooled by the propagandists. Do we want to rein in corporate cannabis? Yes, we do. We want to make sure social equity, which, there's a couple of good points in this article about the dangers of corporate cannabis. It's kind of could have been written by the weed man of New Jersey in many respects, who continues to sell cannabis on the Capitol steps. As he ought to. As they're doing in front of, thank goodness for him. In front of shops in Toronto. The stone entombed pot shops that apparently are also entombing people. I don't know why the guy was living in a pot shop, but apparently he was, and he ended up being sealed in like the pharaohs of old with his brazier. At least he had his brazier and hopefully had lots of cannabis to pray with.
Poor guy.
While he was entombed, he did get out apparently, but so they're selling cannabis in front of those shops that have been locked up. Into farmers markets still, because if you watch what's going on in Canada, it's like a mirrored image of or a preview, foreshadowing of what national legalization mistakes and what it's going to look like. Now another good point in this article, I really hate to promote Sabbath, but just be aware that this is the angle now of the prohibitionists, because they have lost on the medical aspect and they've lost on the dangers. Because every story that they try to, the same old stories about pets and children, it doesn't end up where they want it, which is hurting them. That's kind of what they want to see, but they can't find the harms. They can't find the dangers. We talked about that last week when we broke down that CBD article on Project CBD about the dangers of cannabidiol in the liver. It's bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit. And I do have to clip that out, make the 20-minute video, and we break that down, that article, and talks about the ridiculous trials that they did years ago with the monkeys and rats Turns out CBD might be a great harmless rat poison, neurotoxin for rats, I guess. But rats aren't people, though we do often call rat studies good for the medical cannabis, right? Sometimes, but truly rats aren't people. So this is the new angle. The new propaganda is to say, look, corporate cannabis, look what's happening. Look what's happening. You don't want it to be big tobacco. Turns out big tobacco is turning into cannabis. The farmers
trying to be big cannabis.
Trying to be big cannabis. So yeah, I mean, so they've changed their message. They've refined it. They've honed it. They have new, paid propagandists to write books and articles to reframe and change the narrative on basically the same old tell your children reefer madness. And so this is just part of it. And so this story is in the Chronicle. Feel free to comment liberally in the section, if you will, in response. But we want to keep corporate cannabis in check, and unfortunately, that is the way it's being pushed. Being pushed on the hill. We're going to have to
lobby and change the laws in order to keep corporate cannabis in check, because people should be able to go to farmers markets and sell their wares if that's what they so desire. I want to buy my neighbor's tomatoes.
I want to be able to, I don't want to have a medical card to grow more than 6 plants. It's essentially we're creating the exact same system we had prior to Prop 64. I bet you're gonna see basically the doc shops open up again. I think you're going to start to see that, where people are just going to start to get their medical cards because you can grow more than 6 plants if you have a medical card under the current laws of California.
Go get it, guys.
So,
like Vegcrom Bloom says, grow your own. And if Vegcrom Bloom says, if any of you live in Tucson, Arizona, stop by Planned Parenthood, and it'll help you grow at home.
There you go.
We have such a great chat. We have such a great group of folks who come and see us every week. It's so nice.
Comment liberally. What about commenting conservatively?
Thank you.
Certainly, you can comment conservatively. Conservation is a great thing for the environment. I'm for conservation. Speaking of conservation, Dylan, what an awesome segue into our next story.
Go on.
Although I did want to just say there is just continuing on the pot for profit, and the Senate and the Hill. Everybody was so worried about. We're like, because we were talking about how we're seeing great action. The big cannabis caucus up there on the Hill and in the House is moving like crazy, passing great amendments rather, and essentially they were not planning on going anywhere with it. We were thinking that it might not happen because the Senate and Mitch McConnell, we know he's on hemp, but what about everything else? Cracks in the FDA wall, cracks in the CBD wall start to happen. And lo and behold, it looks like Dana Rohrabacher might be right about support up there on Congress and elsewhere for cannabis. It looks like the Senate is going to get a marijuana banking hearing next week.
Of course.
Because the banks want the money. Now we got the pot for profit
moving
through legalization. Now we got to get the profit money in there first. Got it all coming in. So looks like we're going to get a cannabis hearing in the Senate. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for how that goes. Awesome. We'll see. We'll see what happens, Rohrabacher, one of the story this week, Marijuana Moment, had an interview with Dana Rohrabacher. Of course, he lost his seat. Everybody knows who, the controversial surfing conservative of California lost his seat. One of the biggest proponents of decriminalization, legalization. He brings up the fact that we do have a pro-pot president. POTUS is pro-pot in most respects, as in many respects, at least you see at the front of our show every week. We do have, and Rohrabacher points out, kind of more of a pro-pot president than we did last time. So a lot more could have been done.
Disruptor.
Yeah. So, disrupt. Well, we could see some disruption here up there on the Senate. We've got the hearings scheduled for next week. with regards to the safe banking bill. So stay tuned. Thank you, Tom Angel, writing in Forbes, and of course for Marijuana Moment. Also over there in Marijuana Moment, Kimberly Lawson, one of the new writers over there. Legalizing marijuana leads to fewer illegal grow sites in national forests. Dylan, study finds. Turns out some of it is because people are turning people in. But then, nobody likes the growing on the national forests. Nobody really does. Nobody's a fan. They do tend to be less environmentally, friendly.
Not great stewards of the environment.
Not great stewards of the environment. So I think, we'd rather see that than, picking out family grows on property that hasn't applied for a license. We'd rather see that. We'd rather see the funds going to making sure that what's going on in the national forests. Now, so we have more activity there. Of course, Gavin Newsom reported he was going to do that here in California during his State of the State. So we see activities there. Although we are seeing the raids happen to those family farms or patients that aren't doing it the right way. In California now, we're seeing those raids happening, stepping up the last month. All over Riverside County.
It's horrifying.
Up in Humboldt, up in all in the Emerald Triangle, down in Riverside. We have a video story in the Afterburn that talks about one of the raids that happened. But I tweeted this week, 47 tons of cannabis medicine. Did I just crash? I'm not sure what just happened. I don't think so. Something happened. But 47 tons of plants and medicine were destroyed this week. In these raids in Riverside County. And we have an idea that, hey, why don't we take that stuff that you collect, have it tested, and then give it to the veterans and let them use it as medicine.
Or unhoused folks.
Or
seniors.
Which is a program also talked about in the Chronicle this week, I believe, Chela, right? About helping seniors or helping homeless with cannabis.
Amy Farah Weiss, who is a friend of mine on Facebook. I actually should have had her on. Maybe we can have her on next week.
Yeah.
We can have Amy Farah Weiss if you're watching. Maybe you can come on next week if you're free to chat about your work with unhoused folks in San Francisco.
Absolutely.
That would be amazing.
I know they're
Do you have that up? That story or ability to bring that up?
I can bring it up.
That'd be great.
We've reported on a program like that, similar to that, happening here in Southern California.
Yeah. But yeah, she does really amazing work up in San Francisco, and she was quoted extensively in this story.
Capital Cannabis reads, newsreview.com, Sacramento News, compassionate use homeless advocates say cannabis helps ease the everyday stresses of sleeping outdoors and can replace more harmful addictions. Should organizations help the unhoused gain access to medical cannabis?
Yeah.
This story by Ken Magri, published on the 18th. So why not? Why not look at these? It really is. I mean, it really is a waste of hopefully or maybe good medicine. I mean, if it's full of pesticides and heavy metals, I understand. But why not? Why not test it and use it if it's, donated to a company that can turn it around for those that can use it, because it's such a waste. It is that's the crime, really, in this. And certainly in those plants that are being harvested and grown by honest Californians and they're on their property in good bags that they're trying to make good medicine or good plants.
Especially those.
Okay, fine. You don't want to do that with the national forest stuff.
Sure,
but these stupid unpermitted raids, put it to good use. Put those plants to good use.
Please put it to good use. It's really just so shameful that so much good medicine is going to waste.
It truly is. Truly is. So let's see. Also here in California, and here's that story in Leafly talking about in California's cannabis war, civil is the new criminal. So talking about the new crackdown that's begun that we've talked about here in California, up in Humboldt, this story, and some of the more draconian now, not legal, or rather more illegal now that it's legal. It's because they're basically, and silver forfeiture may be gone federally, but it's they're not even thinking about that problem here in California. It turns out, here we go, fines of $10,000 a day per violation, maxing out at $900,000. Oh, and followed by property liens and forfeiture. I've replaced traditional fears of sheriff's raids in Humboldt this summer. So California.
It all is very triggering.
So California is now doing the forfeitures despite the feds now stopping asset forfeiture. So, well, you gotta, you're not playing the game and getting your money through taxes and regulations. You're not going to play that game and pay all the lawyers all the money, the $1 million you need to get into the business, and check all the boxes. If you're not going to play that game, we're going to get your money by fining you $1 million. So everybody, hey Blaster Master, welcome to the show. We're just talking about the horrendous tyranny and state draconian thugs, and it's camp light. It's camp raid light.
100%
is what it is.
Terrible.
The chippers are still there. The chippers are still there, and
they got to do something with the chippers.
They got to do something with those.
They
chippers.
invested in them chippers, so now they got to use them chippers, or else the taxpayers will be furious.
Listen,
the taxpayers that built that fucking town. Oh, whoops.
What? What'd you say?
The taxpayers that built that town, those towns where they're chipping all the cannabis. You know what bought those chippers? Cannabis.
It should, indeed. What's going on in the chat? Lots of stuff going on in the chat.
Lots of stuff.
Anything
oh my gosh,
pertinent?
Vegan Metro is telling us that the laws in Nevada for home grow, 6 plants per person, no more than 12 per household, which sounds great. But then you got to be 25 miles from the nearest dispensary. That's 25 miles? That's crazy.
Well, one of the things we're gonna talk about when we get Luis Rivera and Adrian Gomez on from the State of Cannabis 2019 and their health and wellness fair event happening in Adelanto, California. One of the challenges in California, and we're going to talk about many of them, is where you can do this stuff, where you can have cannabis events, where you can grow cannabis, where you can sell cannabis. We've legalized it in the state of California. Oh, it's legal in California now. Not in 70 to 80% of the state, depending on who you talk to.
Yeah, and you can only have 6 plants per household. Whole
Right.
house.
So that thus
Unless you're medical.
Unless you actually have that card and pay the state and keep that card up to date, and you have the doctor's order that says you need this amount of plants. The caregiver program is supposedly in some, I've heard, is in some effect, but there's certainly no nonprofit model. There's no study of it. It's all for profit tax and regulate scheme. And there are those that are trying to work within that system to take care of the social equity aspect, to give back. Many of the brands are making that part of their, giving back and to the community, and medicine and social equity is part of their brand. But it's crazy out here. And profit, unfortunately, is the motive at the state level and at the business level. John Boehner's all in. He's all in for a reason. There's a reason these guys, all of these politicians up in Canada and in the United States, are leaving office and getting involved in cannabis. Howard Dean is involved with Tilray. Antonio Viragosa here in Los Angeles is part of MedMen on the board. There's a couple others that have that slipped my mind, but up in Canada, it's rampant. All of the prison industrial guys and all the law enforcement and former conservative politicians are all getting involved. Or many
all the ones who made so much money on incarcerating people because of cannabis are all profiting from cannabis legalization. It's pretty disgusting.
And the mill continues. Oh, all possible.
Stuck outside.
Oscar's been in and out a lot. Tipping around. So, California is cracking down. They've got a list. They've got satellite imagery. If there's good news about this, the study that the national forests are starting to be protected. So don't let the propagandists tell you they're not. They're finding fewer and fewer. They're eliminating fewer people are doing it for whatever reason. So I'm sure there's a collecting of reasons why that's happening, but it's good news, we think.
Hey, did you do a new Zoom meeting?
I'm gonna do one.
Okay, you should do one.
We've got 9 minutes, but we should do a new one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to start that up right now. Well, what's going on in the chat? I'll turn it
So
over to you.
I will start chit-chatting about stuff in the chat.
Or you can talk about one of your new story.
Oh, okay.
And I can bring it up.
Why don't you bring up the green flower story? The green flower terpene story.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, 6 amazing medical properties of cannabis terpenes.
You can find that on the Cannabis Chronicle at tc420la.com under the tab The Science of Cannabis. And of course, we're talking about this story right here, the 6 amazing medicinal properties of cannabis terpenes. Chela, what are the 6?
So the 6 are myrcene. It alleviates pain and inflammation. Linalool reduces stress and anxiety. I love me some linalool strains. Pinene kills bacteria and increases cognitive functioning. Limonene treats gastric reflux and ulcers. And humulene inhibits cancer cell growth. And borneol reduces risk of heart disease. So terpenes and cannabinoids work better together. That's why just something that is like if you add THC isolate and CBD isolate in a thing, and that's just your whole thing, it's not going to be nearly as good as a full plant extract that naturally has THC, CBD, and other terpenes in it as well. If you guys don't know about green flower media, you should know about green flower media. So here is an interesting story that you can find in the Cannabis Chronicle that we put out on Saturday night or Sunday morning.
And they have put out actually green flower. So those terpenes again that they cover: myrcene, linalool, pinene, one of our favorites, limonene, and humulene.
I would like a naturally occurring chemovar that has myrcene, linalool, and pinene in it, occurring naturally.
We are on the lookout for that. Yeah. That would be our medical strain that we would create.
Well, there's also folks that we could ask to breed that for us.
That's possible.
Totally. It's entirely possible. We know people.
This is doable now. This is the way it's done. This is the way it's done. And this is how they're going to create the medicine. They're going to find out exactly that. They're going to find out what the chemovar is that needed, and they're going to create it in a plant, in a botanistic lab. But we can't wrap our heads around plant medicine in this country. Hopefully that will change.
Our talk is hurting your heart, Veg Strong Bloom. Why?
Why? That's not good.
No.
But Green Flower Media should make you feel good. Green Flower, actually, they've came out with some really great videos this week. One amazing interview with 2 veterinarians. One vet interviewing another. You can find it. The videos over on our YouTube channel. I have a playlist called Weed the Media, and I always put the Green Flower videos up there. And there's one this week about vets and pets in cannabis, which of course is much controversy. But Green Flower Media has amazing education videos. It's one of the best educational sites for cannabis, along with, of course, Project CBD, which we read the story last week. Holy cannabis oil remind us beta-caryophyllene can directly activate CB2 receptors to fight cancer. Yes, beta-caryophyllene recently found to be the cannabinoid-like terpene that actually does the same thing as, I guess, THC, right? Or is it CB2? So that would be CBD.
You can find beta-caryophyllene in lots of leafy greens.
Lots. So that's pretty fascinating. Thank you, Holy Cannabis Oil, for reminding.
That must be why they say to eat your greens to stay healthy and to fight cancer.
Indeed. So that's definitely another recommendation to us, is to follow and watch the videos and the stories that come out of Green Flower Media. I think if you just sign up and get on their list, you can watch most of their stuff for free. I'm not sure they have a training program too, don't they? Green Flower?
They do.
Yeah. So one of the better educators in the space. Exhausted 11 here in Maryland, D.C. It's up to dispensaries. They have good pediatric disability and veteran discounts. Oh, really? Okay. So the law doesn't require, like they do here in California, sorry, you must pay your taxes. No donations for you. Jerry Brown vetoed that bill. It's back up again. Widely popular again. I don't know. Where is it? Shouldn't it be close to the governor's desk at this point?
It should be close to the governor's desk, but I don't see that it is.
So I don't know why he should sign it, which is, I believe it's AB or 34. SB 34. SB 34.
I think it was AB 34. I don't know what it is now.
And there's a couple of other bills that are working their way through the State House here in California to address this. And hopefully they'll see some light of day. I did create that new link, just so you know, Chel.
Oh, you did?
I did,
good.
and I shared it with...
I don't see it. In my email?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't share it with you.
Okay, great.
I shared it with Luis.
All right, sweet.
Hang on a second. I will share it with you right now.
Right, cool.
So, anything else? What's going on in the chat? What's going on with Veg Cron Bloom? Is everything cool?
I'm not sure, but that's cool. Everybody has their thing. Hi, Mad Goat.
Goats on Sticks. All right, I just sent you the link.
Oh, Goats on Sticks. I love it. Thanks, babe.
I'm going to send it. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a text to Luis, because we are like 2 minutes out and they're going to be jumping in and going, what's going on? Okay, here we go. I got a text. Stand by.
Oh, yeah. Guys, it's super simple. You got to stay on top of your elected officials and vote the ones out that aren't doing the right things in the way of cannabis, because as you know, cannabis reaches through all parts of our world and our culture and society. Exhausted 11 is mentioning that Rand Paul, what the fuck? Sorry, he just thought about, or Exhausted, just thought about the 9/11 first responders, you know? So yeah, it's, we gotta educate everybody. It's super frustrating to have to really spoon feed and educate slowly people who know nothing about cannabis medicine and how effective it is for so many different things. I was told a story yesterday by a woman we were interviewing, or preparing to interview, about a woman living with dementia for many, many years who was just inconsolable with all the medicine that the Big Pharma had to offer her. And when she was finally in hospice care, she was able to access cannabis medicine here in California, near the Emerald Triangle, of all places. But finally, when she was in hospice, she was able to access cannabis medicine, and that alleviated her pain. And finally, she was calm and relieved. So it's incredible how powerful cannabis medicine really is. And no, there aren't necessarily all the studies that doctors might like, or those double-blind placebo, studies that single molecule medicines were designed around. But those of us in medical cannabis legal states have to just press forward and really put forward how you're using it medicinally, and make sure to educate your friends and neighbors and doctors about how it's helping you medically, because anecdotally is what they're going to get for the meantime and the short term. Yeah, so keep it up, y'all. It's going to take another generation before doctors are really ding-dong in my ear, before doctors are really on board with this. But
I was just testing
anyway.
to make sure that
oh, hey, hi, Techno Biscuit.
that was
Good
working.
evening.
That link was working. I just sent them the new link. Everything's working, so hopefully they will jump in here, guys. And of course, thank you, Chela, for talking about that.
Sure.
And we do need to stay vigilant, ever vigilant, because things aren't changing as fast. We learned recently it takes 20 years to get the medical establishment to change anything.
Yeah.
Once something becomes common knowledge, it takes 20 years for the medical establishment to change something. So even if tomorrow cannabis were descheduled and freedom reigned, liberty reigned in the land, and freedom for all, the medical establishment will say, well, now we can study it. And, it's going to be another 10 years of studies before we actually know, because that's the way things happen. So even if we get descheduling, even if we get it, it's going to be still trying to convince people, not so much people are going to be way convinced before. It's going to be the doctors and the medical establishment that we're still going to need to educate. Now it's changing. It's getting better. We're talking to people in the industry. The statistics are changing. The younger doctors are definitely more open and more educated. It's really the old ones, just like the politicians, that are the main problem. So there is more education happening. There is definitely more education and exposure happening in the community. Hey,
Ding
there
dong.
we are. Ding dong.
I'll join the Zoom meeting. Do I need to join?
You
the
should
Zoom
join
meeting?
so at least
There we
Luis
go.
can look at you.
Okay.
Hey, Luis. Sorry, buddy. Sorry about that. Can you hear us? Unmute yourself. In the community. Hey, there we are. Ding dong.
I'll
Oh,
join.
wait.
Do I need to join?
You should join so at least
There we
Luis
go.
can look at you.
What a mess.
Buddy.
We're gonna edit all this part out in the
Well,
afterburn.
hang on, because I hear you.
Unmute yourself in the community. Hey, there we are. Ding dong.
Hello.
I'll
Can
check.
you guys hear me?
Do I need to join?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Problem is, I hear a bunch of other stuff too.
I gotta turn my stuff off.
Because I
Hang on, Luis.
yourself.
Just, there we go. Okay, it's all stopped now. Luis, say something.
Problem is, I hear a bunch of other stuff too.
Oh, it seemed to be,
Hang on, Luis.
huh.
We're on another
I
call.
don't know why.
Oh, there we go. Okay, it's all stopped now. Luis, say something.
Do you have an earbud? Do you have earbuds, Luis?
Oh, yes.
Oh, shoot. This is unfortunate.
Hi, Slow News Day.
Oh. Let's see if hopefully Luis can get some earbuds and maybe that'll help with the problem.
Really?
Earbud? You have earbuds, Luis?
Because I think I'm
I don't
hearing.
think that's my computer. We might be on another
Hi,
line.
Slow News
Oh,
Day.
it might be me. Hang on. Let's see. Let's do this.
Hey, Mercury's in retrograde, you guys.
I
Did
know.
you know?
I know. All right, try it now, Luis. Say something.
Oh, he ran away.
Oh, no, I definitely did not hear you now. Okay, stand by.
He's gone to find a headset.
Weird. I think
Oh.
we're good now.
Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah, you sound great.
Now you sound great.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Oh, okay, good.
Fabulous.
Use the earbuds. No problem.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh,
And you
that's
can hear
wow.
you can hear me. I don't know. Can you hear Chela?
Yes.
Awesome.
You could go back on your meeting, I think.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, if we start to not hear you.
Where's my
All right,
meeting?
there he is. There he is. Luis Rivera. Welcome to the show, Luis.
Oh, thank you guys very much.
You are a busy man. We keep running into you on at events all over town, doing your best to make sure that this space happens in the right way. And you've got another great event coming. Of course, we met a couple of months ago in May, right? It was May, the first inaugural State of Cannabis.
April.
Yes.
May?
Very nice. Very good event. 4 months ago now, 3-4 months ago. So looking to build on that and now taking it to the health and wellness side.
That's right. Well, that's pretty cool. That was more a sort of a legislative update. Tulsi Gabbard was there. We got a great interview with Tulsi Gabbard. And this now you're starting really a series, and this is the first one, I think, with the focus on health and wellness. So that's, that of course is our focus and I'm certainly here a lot. For folks that watch this channel, we really think that it's important. So we're really excited that you have decided to use your apparently not so easy to get ability to do events here in Southern California, or in California in general.
Yeah.
And you've been able to get one of those permits, and now you're using it for the good, in not only, making cannabis, adult use cannabis in California work, but really keeping health and wellness at the forefront of it. So tell us a little bit about this expo that's coming up, and then we can get into some of the details and all of the challenges. So what's happening on August 10th?
Well, the good thing is, cannabis is legal, so that's the most important part. And, one of the things we wanted to do, just like you and your mission, is to make sure, whether it's recreational or not, it needs to be led with medicine first. It's a medicinal, product. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a natural thing, and we need to make sure that, we don't allow the whole recreational conversation and just kind of circumvent that, although that's great and that's a part of it. But we have a lot of medical patients in need, veterans that could use this if they, had access to it, and social equity and other minorities like myself that have been, excluded and, been part of the war on drugs and now are trying to do other things for others. So with this event, we're excited though, because we really get to merge the recreational with the medicinal and, talk about that soon. And, we'll talk a little bit more about the event as we catch up here.
Absolutely.
So talk to me. I was curious about the work that's going on with you, Chela, because one of the things you mentioned to me earlier was how we're doing outreach and working with different groups. So I know you're doing a lot of work with medicine, nurses and homes, and that's been one of our targets to try to get the word out there in cities like Adelanto and places like that.
Well, wow, thank you. We are definitely getting deeper into understanding more about residential care facilities for the elderly and boarding cares, and how nursing homes are totally excluded from using cannabis medicine. There are laws and regulations in place in California for assisted livings to use cannabis medicine, so it would be really probably smart to bring flyers to assisted living facilities that have independent, independent living in the assisted livings in the Adelanto and Apple Valley and that sort of area, because those folks are looking for stuff to do all the time and they're kind of stuck there, and they're allowed to use cannabis medicine, but they may not know enough about it. And it would be nice. I love that your event is focused on older people, and you're going to have music and events that are appealing to older people, like painting and yoga, and lots of people that maybe the cannabis naive can speak to about how cannabis helps creaky joints or overall pain or muscle spasms or insomnia that a lot of older people struggle with. So I'm super stoked about your event in Adelanto, and really trying to connect the people who live around there to the resources that you're bringing to the area. So it's super exciting to kind of merge all the stuff that's happening.
Yes, it's
and we're going to play a couple of, you've got some great promos up on your YouTube channel that Adriana has made, and they are really informative and express how, what the focus of this event is, and they're really great. So we're going to play a couple of those in the afterburn. But talk a little bit about why you're in Adelanto. We talk about every week on the show what a challenge it is here in California with the local permitting and authorities basically banning cannabis in upwards of 80% of the state in some respect, and certainly with regards to cannabis consumption events. And this is an event that is unique in the sense that not only is it educational and panels and very informative about the medicinal aspect of it in a wellness focus, but it's going to be an event that people are going to be able to consume in parts of it. So talk about a little bit about a merger of these two types of events. You have this educational event, sort of an expo, exposing brands and stuff and information, but also getting into the consumption as something like the Emerald Cup would be doing, and what a challenge that is here in California.
Well, thank you. It has been a challenge. So thank you. It's been a challenge. I don't even know where to start. As I mentioned, we really are pioneers right now trying to figure out the way, just as difficult it is for people to, get a license and get up and running. I mean, that's how difficult it's been, because for those that don't know the process, you need a state license that gives you authority as a cannabis event organizer throughout the state. However, each event, well, that's one application to become an event organizer. You get your background, your screening, make sure they know you're professional and can throw an event. And then from there, you have to go to each municipality, each local authority, each city to figure out, hey, can we do this here? And unfortunately, rather than just roll it into an existing permitting special events process, maybe something even like something that sells alcohol, they've actually made everything much more complex. And so we're having to go to cities, and as you mentioned, only a few are up and running, and it's a bittersweet kind of approach in the sense where people ask why Adelanto. It's actually a very friendly city with cannabis taxes, and there's not so much news in the headlines, but definitely trying to do a lot for the industry, including being one of the leading pioneers allowing these kinds of events. So for us, we're trying to work with them, help them realize the value in the potential tax that they'll be able to bring in, and us being able to really focus around health and wellness. A lot of the events have been great, well produced, but focused mostly for the youth, our younger generation. And this, we want to cater to a more mature audience, people that like us that want to use it for medicinal health, wellness benefits, and really want to learn and or are new to the product and want to learn for the first time. So whether you want to advance your existing knowledge and then or not, you can go there. But as you mentioned, I think it's actually 3 parts. This event, we're gonna tighten it up and do some little more marketing. But we have the expo with a bunch of brands, which we'll be talking about soon.
So this really is let's take a quick look at, I've got a minute and 24 second from you guys, talks about this health fair. And I think this is the one that really gives a sort of a comprehensive overlook of what's going to be at the event. Let's just take a quick look at that, and we'll come back on the other side to continue our chat with Luis Rivera of Collective Strategies LA, an amazing company that is basically the founder and organizer of the State of Cannabis here in California, State of Cannabis 2019. And this year, right now, starting the Summer of Health and Wellness in Southern California in Adelanto. Looking forward to checking out beautiful Adelanto. We love high desert whenever we can, and we're going to turn it into the high desert in August, on August 10th. So let's take a look at this video, and we'll come back and talk on the back end. Here we go.
Hey, it's Adriana from Collective Strategies, and I want to personally invite you to an amazing event called the State of Cannabis 2019 Health and Wellness Fair. At this educational and entertaining cannabis health and wellness fair, you'll be able to learn about the medicinal properties of cannabis in a safe, stigma-free environment. You can attend free health and wellness workshops focused on fitness, exercise, and nutrition, and even learn about the latest bioscience technologies, innovation, products, and consumer trends that can align with everyone's life. lifestyle. I guarantee you will walk out with a new understanding of the cannabis plant and its inherent medicinal benefits that can assist you with achieving better health. In fact, here's just a sample of what you can expect at this educational and entertaining cannabis health and wellness fair. On-site consumption and sales, yoga and meditation, educational health seminars, food, music, and entertainment, over 35 cannabis vendors, puff and paint, and much, much more. Don't miss the State of Cannabis 2019 Health and Wellness Fair, where you can enjoy a full day of relaxation, education, and entertainment with on-site cannabis consumption without the stigma. Register now.
The State of Cannabis. The link is in the description, guys. You can get your tickets for for $25 at the State of, and reasonably priced. What are you doing?
I love that you do that.
What are you doing, Luis? A reasonably priced event?
Yeah.
Give me a break. Nobody does that.
I love that you do that. That really means a lot. It's very community based.
It really does. So lots of really what exactly is puff and paint?
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, perfect. No, yeah, thank you. It's reasonably priced. Actually, if you enter chat, actually not chat, but a promo code SOC, State of Cannabis, the initials SOC, you get a 20% discount.
Oh my God! Wow.
Even off the $25, you can get another $5 off.
Wow, that's amazing.
So $20 to get an amazing education about the real medicine. Do a little yoga. Do a little puff and paint, which apparently is similar to wine and paint, or
sipping, whatever.
Sipping.
We did that with the family in Colorado.
Well,
right.
It's like,
but
you get a joint, you get a smoke, you get a paint. What I'm saying, you get a smoke. The yoga, I've done it before. It's amazing.
I can't wait to do it. I'm so excited.
Get a little session going, and then the puff and paint. Have a good artist friend. That can make you an artist in instant. And when you're high, it's actually even better. When you activate that endocannabinoid system and the creativity flows, man.
Juices flowing. That's going to be delightful.
And then there'll be bands, and you'll get your, those that want the music will get their music fix.
And it's going to be like old school music, right?
It's the expo, with the vendors, and then we have the conference, but then the third part is the bands, which we're really when you're high, excited to hear about the bands that are coming out. So our headliner is this group called Quinto Soul, which is a great reggae, Spanish mix, kind of English, everything, reggaeton, but really cool music. And then we have another flashback acoustic 80s band that'll be playing music, and a couple other acts that will be lining up. So it's really a jam-packed day where you'll have the kind of concert, if you will, the kind of conference with the education, which you guys will be helping to cover, and the day of activities and vendors and brands and partners. So we wanted this to be very exciting for people, a bang for their buck. It shouldn't be about overcharging them. The retailers in the state will do that, unfortunately.
Right.
But that's just the way. But for now, we want to do this, show that these things work. There's a lot going on up north. Northern Triangle, Emerald City, things like that. Events they had this weekend, I think Northern Lights. So we just want to do things here, start small, scale up, grow, and bring the good stuff in many ways from up north down here. Well, I think it's important to support the communities that are opening their arms to cannabis and really embrace. It's like they see the economic stimulus value. They understood. But they also see the writing on the wall, and to resist it is really kind of silly. So it's, people go to the high desert to have fun all the time. There was a cannabis cup out there not too long ago, that did very well. So, there are, Tyson is opening a town out in the desert, right? So the cannabis, events and the cannabis community is just going to get bigger and growing out there. And it's going to be a destination, essentially for a lot of these new companies and a lot of these organizations and groups. And so I think it's great you're doing it with Adelanto. We met some amazing folks at a couple of events recently.
that were from out there that are trying to help
we
the
met
businesses
some
grow.
folks at State of Cannabis.
At State of Cannabis, that's right. That's what I'm referring to, actually.
Okay, great.
Which we did cover, and you can watch all of those great panels from the State of Cannabis inaugural event in May over on Reefer Revolution. You can watch the whole playlist of all of the great panels, and we have the links to the new event, the State of Cannabis Health and Wellness Fair of 2019, August 10th from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Adelanto Stadium, 12,000 Stadium Way, Adelanto, California. $20 with the code. What's the code?
SOC. 20% off.
20% off. And it's SOC.
SOC, like State of Cannabis.
State of Cannabis. Fantastic. Well, we're going to be covering the educational part of it again. For this fantastic event. Lanny is going to be, I saw Lanny Swerdlow is moderating. Of course, Lanny was at the State of Cannabis, and he moderated a great panel there on the medical benefits. He is, of course, a Brownie Mary Democrat, one of the leaders there. So that's very cool to see him moderating that panel. Eric Gopal is going to be moderating a panel about veterans. And so we're very excited to be covering that part of it. It's Saturdays, so we don't have to do our show. We'll do a live check-in. Maybe we'll do some live stuff, but it won't infringe on our show because originally it was planned for a Sunday, but we were planned to adapt for that. But it's going to be on Saturday, August 10th from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. In the beautiful and warm city of Adelanto. It's at a stadium, but there's nice. It's covered. It's all all of the vendors and stuff are all going to be covered, and so it's going to be, you're going to take into consideration the high desert aspect of it, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast, so we're looking forward to it.
We're going to try and go live throughout it if possible.
We'll check in throughout the day. So definitely you can count on Reefer Revolution to be there as part of this event. And we hope to see you if you're in California, the Southern California area, and on August 10th. Get your tickets, $20. Come on down to Adelanto. We'll probably get an Airbnb. I don't know. Are there any? I'm sure there are.
We'll stay the night before for sure. Maybe the night of.
We like Victorville. Who
We'll
doesn't?
be contributing to the coffers of Adelanto. So see, you're bringing money to the city.
Listen, when Tyson has his city open, I'm going to go. We want to support cannabis wherever it's at. And so. You are pulling off something that no one's attempted really here at all
right.
locally.
First of its kind.
Nobody, no community has said, yeah, come on in and do this. So, thank you, Adelanto, for, Adelanto. I should probably learn how to pronounce it correctly. Adelanto, California. Thank you for welcoming State of Cannabis 2019. And there's going to be more. You're not stopping here, right, Louise? This is just the beginning of State of Cannabis, and talk a little bit about collective strategies. I know your focus is really on this event, and it has been, but you're doing a lot of work in the social equity area, and you are actually a social equity licensee, are you not?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. So I was saying, yeah, thank you. We're doing a lot of good work with Social Equity LA and LA helping other people get licensed. But right now, the city of LA is going to launch their phase 3 retail storefront licensing. So people that are either have been convicted of a cannabis crime in the state of California prior to 2017 and or lived in a impacted area within the city of LA where there was high crime arrest for cannabis convictions are able to partner with investors and put in an application on September 3rd to see if they can get one of the first 100 licenses here for the social equity program. So that's exciting. So we're helping bringing investors and social equity applicants together to make, get them together to be able to get in the industry. So hopefully that's a good way to get that going. But what we're also doing with collective strategies through the social equity lens is we have a partnership with the Economic Development Department of the state, and we're helping them coordinate a Cannabis Career Fair at Pasadena Convention Center on September 23rd. That's free.
Yeah, CanMed. It's gonna be great.
Is that CanMed?
Yeah, he's partnering at CanMed.
Yeah, CanMed, exactly. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. We love CanMed. That's great. That's great that you're involved there. That's another really. The focus is on the medicine, folks. It's the medicine.
You know, the jobs, the workforce opportunities, the medicine, the workforce opportunities, and the jobs. You know, that's really the focus that we're really trying to do. So, you know, we want everyone to learn, and you know, I think organizing the people, and now the industry is really what it's about for us, and making sure people know the laws and make sure, you know, when they're having these events, like you said, it's about recreation, but more so about the medicinal, and people are doing it right. You know, one of the things we say is like social equity is broader than ownership and workers' rights, and you know, that's very important. But it's even us just treating it right and destigmatizing it, helping us as consumers, as you know, be responsible now that it's legal. So events like this, stopping legal, even though it's tough, you know, we got to do it, and we'll do more of this to build the brand awareness of those that are doing it right, and these, you know, new brands that are trying to survive, because it is cutthroat, and you know, as much as people think it's all about building a brand now, you know, cutting your losses, so to speak, doing it legally, trying to just maintain so that you get over the first couple of years, and then be able to really compete and thrive once the illicit market is really shut down.
Right. Well, it's certainly a challenge in so many ways at so many levels with this industry, and not just now with THC and cannabis, medical cannabis, quote, but now in the CBD industry. You know, it's a whole new set of problems and issues, and you know, it's amazing. It's a challenge in all levels, and the event consumption aspect of it is one of the biggest ones. We know what the results of cannabis consumption are. You know, we've got this big move here in West Hollywood to start licensing lots of consumption lounges, and of course, people are freaking out about the impact, the possible impact on the society. We're going to have a couple of stories about that in the afterburn. But we know that these events always end up being peaceful. Emerald Cup went every day without one arrest, no fights, no parking tickets.
Thousands and thousands of people.
Thousands of people. This event is going to be so health and wellness focused.
It's going to be great.
And you know, it's going to be amazing. I'm also more excited to see the results afterward than I am of the event, but it's all going to be great. It's all super exciting. We're really, really grateful to be included.
Yeah. Thank you for putting this together.
Absolutely. And we want to support you in whatever way we can. As our journey continues along this space in the media and in telling the stories of health and wellness from this plant.
I want to just chime in on that real quick. That, you know,
sure.
I think the most important part of this, and it really is, I mean, not to circumvent it or anything, it's the stories of the people. They're the people that are going through this. You know, you guys know this. You personally experienced it. I have family. You know, we have patients that we're hearing stories and how this has saved their lives. Whether it's, you know, giving it to their youth and children that have epilepsy, or veterans and others that are suffering from chronic pain or even cancer and have been cured by the cannabinoid plant, and, you know, what we have here for us to use. So, you know, without us really treating it like a medicine on a plant, we're still going to allow the industry to, you know, kind of continue allowing this policy and profits over the patients and the people. So, you know, we want to, like I say, continue working, highlight those stories, have these events, and let people know that it's much more than just this bunch of fun and, you know, bunch of reefer madness going on here. Yeah, all our handles are at stateofcannabis.com. I told Adriana, we need my partner, which of course she's not here. We're gonna get a lot more active within the next few weeks. One of the challenges we haven't talked about is just the challenge for advertising and that.
Oops, sorry, our microphone was off, but you gave the information that I asked for. Yes, the state of cannabis. It is definitely one of the biggest challenges is trying to figure out how to get the message out without using the words cannabis, CBD, or any variation thereof.
How are you doing that? Are you just doing it the 80s way, like old-fashioned flyers and dropping cards in community areas where people might find it? How are you getting around that?
Just a lot of guerrilla marketing, as they call it, trying to find partners in the Adelanto area so that the micro-targeted, so to speak, the outreach and the advertisement. I'm willing to, do some bench ads or something. So we're looking at it for the next 3 weeks. That's actually our big focus, but a lot of it has to be, as you mentioned, traditional kind of grassroots, send some flyers.
That's what the pros say. It's basically, it's face to face. People want to know, people want to talk to people. And flyers and bus benches. We actually we were thinking about bus benches.
Yeah, bus bench ads are a great idea.
Where are the old people? Well, guess what? Some of them are on the buses, or at least going by in their cars near the buses. Bus benches are great. Great idea. But yes, it is challenging, and we certainly want to support you as much as we can to get out the message. So thanks, Luis, for joining us today. We're going to go out with another little promo, from Adriana, who is doing a great job with these promos. So we're going to watch that. And then when we come back, guys, we are going to, what we'll do is, we will shut down and go into the afterburn like we do. But I just want to, do a big shout out and a thank you to Luis Rivera, Collective Strategies LA, the organizer of State of Cannabis here in Adelanto, California on August 10th. We'll be there. Will you be? For $20. Coupon code SOC. The link is in the description. Give a big thumbs up to our guest, Luis Rivera. Thank you, Luis. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for joining us. Take care.
Thank you guys. Love it. Always a pleasure to come on. So thank you guys.
All right. Well, thank you. And we look forward to talking about planning.
That's right.
For the event coming up.
Get going.
And it's a good time we're done because I didn't log into my pro Zoom count, and our meeting is going to end in 10 minutes anyway.
Okay, ciao.
Thanks for playing with us and adapting. You're great. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Aloha.
Are you someone over the age of 21? Are you tired of unorganized, high-priced cannabis events that are full of smoke and wild youngsters? Did you know that cannabis offers a variety of products that align with your lifestyle and then you can consume safely without all the stigmas? That's why you need to attend events like State of Cannabis that educate and promote legal cannabis brands. Click the link to learn more.
I can't hear anything.
Okay, because there's nothing playing. That's why you can't hear anything. All right, guys, awesome. That was great.
Oh, okay. Hi, we're still here.
We're back. I did not shut down. I'm going to do that now.
I didn't realize that.
I'm going to do that now. I got to readjust some lighting and stuff anyway. We're starting to lag a little bit. Sorry about the pop-up sound there. Hope it didn't blow everybody's eardrums, but that was great talking to Luis. Always love talking to Luis.
He does such great work. He and Adriana are doing such great work.
Really good stuff.
In the social equity space, and it's such a busy time for them because the deadline is September 3rd, and there's a lot of stuff to do to apply for these things, as maybe some of you guys know in the chat. But anyway, cool, babe. Yeah, thank you so much for getting all that handled, and you do such a great job over there, like running all the things and doing all the stuff.
And then I'm like, oh shit, I'm in the wrong
Now you
Zoom
gotta shut down, and we're gonna move into
We're
the afterburn.
That's right. Stay tuned, Reefer Revolutionaries. This has been Reefer Revolution Live at 4:20. Make sure you subscribe, get notifications, ring that bell for whenever we do go live. Hit that thumbs up because I'm going to shut this stream down and start the new one because that's the one we might get into trouble sometimes. But, we like to break it up. We're going to do more breaking up too so we can spread more small videos. I promise, Chela. I'm going to do it. It's my focus. Lots of things. There's lots of things we're focusing on. It's very exciting. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, ring the bell, thumbs up. We'll be right back with the afterburn hotboxing. marijuana in the mainstream media in the MST 420 theater. See you in 2 minutes.
Very clever. Julie Love, plastic lighters end up in the ocean,
Oh,
so
they
you
do.
should do recycled matches.
That's true. We should. You're right.
It's clever. No, but as a promotional item. That's what she's talking about. It's very
that's a good
clever.
idea. Hemp doob tubes. We need hemp.
Great ad tool.
Be right back.